Ed's family, I want to welcome all of you here today and thank you for coming. Your presence matters. Because at a time like this, when a life has come to its natural end, there is something deeply human, almost instinctive, about the need to come together. We gather not only because somebody that we love has died, but because somebody that we love lived. And that distinction is important. What we're doing here this afternoon is simple, but it matters. We're taking the time to remember Ed's life, to acknowledge what he meant to us, and to recognize the mark that he leaves behind. Each of us knew him in a different way, but for this little while, we hold those memories together in one place. This afternoon, you'll hear music that reflects pieces of Ed's life, moments of humor, moments of faith, and moments of deep family connection. You'll hear words spoken by those who knew him best. There may be laughter and there may be tears. All of that belongs here. There's no right or wrong way to experience a time like this. Some reflect quietly. Others may feel moved to smile or to remember a story. However you participate, that's enough. When you look at Ed's life, it tells a story of responsibility, of resilience, and a quiet strength. A young man who stepped forward when his family needed him most, who carries a strong work ethic through farming, law enforcement, and his many roles in the community, and who built a life centered on family. Maybe one of the best parts of the story is that moment in a cafe when he looked across the room and said, "I'm going to marry that girl someday." And he did. That says something about Ed. There was a steadiness to him. When he set his mind to do something, whether it was work, family, or life, he followed through. But beyond the roles that he held, beyond the work he did, what mattered most is what those closest to him felt. A man who showed up, who helped others, who gave his time, and who found joy in the simple things. Family gatherings, card games, time at the lake, or following the Minnesota Twins. Those are things that stay with us. So today, as we begin this time together, I invite you simply to be present. Let your mind move through your own memories of that, to hold on to the moments that matter to you, and to recognize that while one life has ended, that life continues to echo in all of us. That is why we gather. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this afternoon with hearts that are both graceful, grateful, and heavy. Grateful for the life, Ed Marczak, and heavy with the loss we feel in his absence. We thank you for the gift of his 94 years, for his work, his strength, his devotion to family, and the many quiet ways he showed up for those he loved. We thank you for the memories that have been created and for the love that continues even now. Be near to this family, Lord. Bring comfort where there is sorrow, peace where there is restlessness, and strength for the days ahead. Surround them with your presence and the support of those gathered here today. We trust that Ed is now at rest, free from pain, and held in your eternal care. And we ask that your help to carry us forward the best of what he gave to us, his example, his kindness, and his love. We place this time into your hands, Lord, and ask for your blessing upon all that is shared here today. In your name we pray. Amen. We will begin with a familiar song, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Burning some peanuts and burn the jazz. I don't care if I never get back 'cause it's food for the home team. And ain't no way it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old ball game. Take me out to the ball
This is a little reading that I thought was appropriate for my grandpa. It's called I'm Free. It goes, don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I'm following the path God laid for me. I took his hand when I heard him call. I turned my back and left it all. I could not stay another day, to laugh, to love, to work or play. Task left undone must stay that way. I found that peace at close of day. If parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joy. A friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Ah yes, these things I too will miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish you sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I've savored much. Good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your hearts and share with me. God wanted me now, he set me free.
Our next song was written by Minneota resident Ralph Larson some years ago. Perfect song for this occasion.
In eternity space, there's a beautiful place the Lord has prepared for us all. And he bids us to come to this heavenly home. There is no mistaking the call. For he wants to declare, if I go and prepare a place up in heaven for you, I will then come again and take you to myself, that where I am, there you may be too. As a gift of God's grace, in this beautiful place, our mansion so rich yet so free, where the weak and oppressed can find comfort and rest. There's room there for you and for me. For he wants to declare, if I go and prepare a place up in heaven for you, I will then come again and take you to myself, that where I am, there you may be too. He will come and receive, if we'll only believe and trust him each step of the way. Then in glory above, we'll abide in his love, forever and ever to stay. For he wants to declare, if I go and prepare a place up in heaven for you, I will then come again and take you to myself, that where I am, there you may be too.
This time we will invite Kim forward for the Reading God's Garden.
God's garden. God looked around the garden and he found an empty place. He looked down upon the earth and saw your tired face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful, for He takes only the best. He knew that you were weary. He knew that you had pain. He knew that you would never get well on earth again. He saw the road was getting rough and that the hills were hard to climb. So He closed your weary eyelids and whispered, "Peace be thine."
Thank you, Kim. Our next song is called "Seeing My Father in Me."
Last night we brought the children by to visit their grandpa, and it's plain to see their true heart in. While we were there, the grandma took out some old photographs, and he sure looked a lot like me back then. I'm seeing my father in me. I guess that's how it's meant to be. And I find more and more like him each day. I notice I walk the way he walks. I notice I talk the way he talks. I'm starting to see my father in me. And today I took my wife for a walk down that old dirt road where my dad took my mom so many times. And we found the time to mention things we never had before, and we shared some thoughts about family life. Yeah, I'm seeing my father in me. I guess that's how it's meant to be. And I find more and more like him each day. I notice I walk the way he walks. I notice I talk the way he talks. I'm starting to see my father in me. Now looking back, can recall times when we disagreed, when I could not take hold of his old-fashioned ways. And the more I tried to prove him wrong, the more I proved him right. Now I know why he still stood by me. I went through that stage. I'm seeing my father in me. Yes, that's how it's meant to be. And I find more and more like him each day. I notice I walk the way he walks. I notice I talk the way he talks. Starting to see my father in me. And I'm happy to see my father in me.
Next, we will invite Cindy forward for a reading entitled 94.
Okay. You know, I'm not a public speaker or anything, so if I cry or get jittery or lose my place, because Mark says I talk too much a lot anyway, so sometimes ramble, you know. So, anyway. 94. What does 94 really mean, you guys? Mom always said age is just a number. And you know what, I feel the same way. Whether dad was 44 or 74 or 104 or whatever it was, it doesn't really matter what his age was. We always treated him as our age. When we went places together with mom and dad, it didn't matter, you guys. They were our age. We were all one. So, you know, I'm not really an age person in my Mark. No. So, Dad was very fearless to me and larger than life most of the time. I always looked up to him. I think we all did. I always knew he could do everything. You could ask him and he did it. Didn't matter how long it took, but he did it. Dad was a humble man. Always kind and caring and quiet. Very strong, never boastful and braggy. That wasn't his man. He was not like that. His soul was very pure, faithful, and very legendary. He's always very legendary to me. A lot of times, I heard Mom would say, "Oh, Father Flanagan, get over here. Father Flanagan, what are you doing?" Sometimes that kind of rubbed off on me. So in the hospital, when we were in the hospital, I would say, "Father Flanagan, what are you doing?" You know, or he's crawling on a bed or something, you know. And the nurses would be like, "What does that mean?" I said, that's mom and dad's thing, you know. Mom and dad's faith was very strong for each other, and the love for each other was very deep. And it actually is a very big inspiration to all of us. In fact, Dad always kept small pictures of Mom in his wallet, and we didn't find out this until Dad passed, and he had little wallets like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. He had little pictures in his wallet of Mom. I thought it was just pretty cool. This one? Okay, and it was just very special when we all just looked at each other like, wow, we didn't even know they were in there, because who looks in their dad's wallet, you know? Through life, through our life, we have amazing journeys with Mom and Dad, and we will have many more moms, so be ready, okay? You got stuff to do. Our parents raised us in wealth of love. Love, togetherness, being a family, and great memories. Memories are what we hang on to. They make our lives better and our hearts a lot stronger. So just make good memories, guys. When I was 6 years old, it was Christmas time. And we lived on 59 out here. And I was headed downstairs. I don't remember my bedroom was, I don't remember that, but I remember I saw a light out in the basement, and I went down there and I said, "What are you doing, Dad?" "I'll go to bed. Christmas is tomorrow. You need to go to bed. I'm making something for Mom," he said. Well, we were all excited. So the next day was Christmas. We all got it up and it was fun, and actually there were like little tables and chairs there that he made me, and I didn't really realize until I got older in life that that's what he was doing in the basement that night. Anyway, one year on Valentine's Day, that's when we lived by Arco, Mom had to work at Ivanhoe late, and Dad said, "Stay, you guys don't eat much, you guys gotta stay up, we got a surprise for you." So we said, okay. So Mom got home, and she said, "Get your clothes changed, we're going to the Brick Manor to eat." So we got hold of the Brick Manor, and Doris, house lock, she was good friends with Mom and Dad, her and her husband Joe. And when we got to the Brick Manor, Doris had her table ready, and they had hors d'oeuvres of like liver pate and cheese and all that. And we ate liver pate until it was coming out of our ears. And Doris kept just bringing it to us. It was good. And when we left, we were the only ones in there. And we had to go to school the next day. But it was a fun time. It was a great memory. We went to the Brick Manor a lot. It was a lot of fun. And sometimes whoever was at Mom and Dad's that Saturday or Friday or whatever it was, we would go and eat and stuff. And usually Dad would work Saturdays and he would come home. And then he would run his bath water, and then he would sit around in his little white underwear, and nobody cared because it was Dad, you know? And then Mom would say, "Hey, get your bath taken, it's getting late. We got it, we're going to the Brick Manor." This is fun, wasn't it? Yeah. It's just a fun time, you know? We always played a lot of sports, and softball and volleyball on the farm. Kevin would always kind of get that going because that was his thing, you know, we played a lot of sport events together. Mom and Dad always played with us. No wonder Naples had a lot of traveling with volleyball. growing up, and we traveled a lot, and sometimes Mom and Dad went with us, and sometimes we had other kids with us, and we did a lot of singing and a lot of loudness in the car and stuff. But I never knew my directions, so not very well. So that was a test. Dad taught me my directions. He'd say, well, where are you going? I'm like, I think I'm going south. No, he says, you're going west, City. And that was before, like, all the navigational stuff, so. Anyway, but he tested me a lot when I was driving, and then Mom said, you better learn those directions, because your dad's just gonna keep asking you. And one time we were going to Hamlin College, and I didn't know how to get there. I just didn't know how to get there. Anyway, so I rolled my window down and I asked the lady, where's Hamlin College at? And he goes, City. Close that window. You remember you're in the cities. Don't put it down and ask people. Anyway, I used to love to watch them dance. Mom and Dad danced a lot, whether it was wedding dances or anniversary dances, and they used to, every Saturday afternoon, listen to it on our big stereo. It was fun, Charlie Rich, all those good songs, you know. Anyway, they glided. They didn't really dance. When Mom and Dad danced, they just would dance all over the floor like this. It was just beautiful, and we can't dance that way, but, you know. But Mom and Dad did. It was great to watch them. Mom and Dad had a lake home on Nest Lake, and they were like the best days ever. Whether you played cards till midnight, or go boating with Dad and Mom on the boat, or just whatever we did, it was always a fun time, and it was always like, oh, we're going to the lake, you know. So anyway, Dad had a boat, and he loved his boat, and Mom did too. And it wasn't a fancy boat, it was just a nice boat, like Dad. He was a nice man, nice boat. Really, I'm for real. And we'd go boating, and April and I would be loud, laughing, and talking, and Brad would say, Cindy, be quiet, you're going to scare all the fish away. Remember that? And we were on opposite ends of the boats, but anyway, when Dad drove his boat, he was like king of the water. He just loved that boat. It was just a nice boat. And then, you know, years go by, and Dad and Mark and Kevin would go deer hunting, usually every November. And that was kind of like the start of the holiday seasons, and if you know us, we love the holidays. Anyway, and we would talk beforehand about where we're going shopping, and then you guys would get together, where were you going to go? And Dad just loved the boys being together, and we used to go places, and it was a fun time. And it didn't matter what anybody's age was. We were all different ages, and it was just fun. Well, one night, when we came home from shopping, I think from Worthington, and the pigs were out. And when we got in the yard, and Mom says, oh my God, look at all the dogs in the yard. And they weren't dogs, they were pigs. So she said, and you guys were gone. So she said, get your warm clothes on, we gotta get these pigs in. So we were chasing pigs. And then when you guys came back, Mark and Kevin and Dad, they were like, what are the lights all on everywhere for? Well, they came in the driveway, and Wonder and April were chasing pigs, and all of a sudden, the pigs turned around and chased them. It was crazy, wasn't it? But it was fun, and it was good, and we played cards that night, and ate a lot of food, and just laughed about our pigs. Anyway, and over the years, time changed. Kevin passed away, and so it was just Dad and Mark hunting for a while, and April went a couple times. And then when Dylan got old enough, he started hunting with them. So Dad really enjoyed having Dylan going hunting with them. Mind you, very seldom did they ever get a deer. Hardly ever. Drove around a lot, talked a lot, took naps, ate lunch, just a lot of fun time. Well, Dylan had a good friend, Jeremy, he decided he was going to come hunting with us, and it was fun too. Jeremy was a very great guy. Dylan's very good friend. Anyway, and then Dad had kind of decided that he was getting older, and he didn't think he should go hunting anymore because he thought he'd kind of be in the way. Well, then when he told Dylan and Jeremy this, they were like, what? He's going hunting? Because, you know, Dad's legs got a little sore, and he got colder faster, and he just didn't know if he would be in the way. Well, Jeremy said, we're moving the seat up. Dolan said, we're keeping it warm, we're gonna keep the pickup warmer. And it worked, and nobody cared about age. It was just a fun time. And Dad enjoyed the boys talking in circles, laughing their heads off, eating a lot of lunches and goofy times. Dad just enjoyed it a lot. Thank you, Dolan. Several years in a row, Mark and I and Mom and Dad, we'd go up to Duluth or up north or somewhere, you know, and just have a lot of fun. And the first time we ever went, well, I gotta back up. So, Dad worked at the elevator, you know, and we usually went in the fall, and it was very hard for him to get off because it was harvest time, and we always wait till the last minute and say, Dad, what do you think? What do you think? Are we going on? We're going on. Well, it was harvest, the elevator was busy, and I think it was just hard for him to go because he loved the elevator, and I don't know. And that's fine, it was great, but as further we got away from home or got closer, he started to relax, and it got better, and it was great. But the first time we went, we didn't make reservations. And so we drove around, and we didn't have a car, we didn't have a place to stay. So we drove by the Wayside Rest, kind of on this side of Duluth, and I slept behind the steering wheel, Mom slept with me in the front seat, and Dad slept in the back, and Mark slept in the back also. But in the morning, Mark was on the picnic table sleeping. There was no room for him. That was kind of our last time we did make reservations. Well, then one time we went up to International Falls, and it was getting late, so we stopped at this restaurant type bar thing, you know. And we went inside, and we thought, oh, we'll order some food, you know, and this and that. And all of a sudden, the lights went down, and the music came up. And the next thing, I turned around and said, oh my God, we're in a stripper bar. True story. I looked over at Mom, and she's like, oh my God, Cindy, what are we doing? And then Mark and I looked at Dad, and he was looking over there, and we asked him what he was thinking, and his response was, not very pretty, not worth it, let's go. Anyway, at Christmas time, I'd always ask Dad, say, what do you want for Christmas, Dad? What do you want for Christmas? Well, God, girl, he said, it's a month away. And so a week later, I keep asking him. He never did tell me, but, he never asked for much. Christmas time was a family togetherness story, wonderful times for us. We played charades and boogie ghosts was like starting at 11 o'clock at night, and we all would hide in the house, and somebody was it, and Kelly would usually whistle and talk and try to get us to come out of our hiding places and stuff, you know. But Dad always had the best hiding places. One time he was on top of the stove, and we couldn't find him. We literally couldn't find him. He was like hiding in the corner, wasn't he? Anyway, Dad loved Christmas. He loved putting Christmas lights up every year. He would add more and more. He helped decorate the Christmas tree. Mom would put presents together for him, and he would wrap them. And even he would just wrap and do everything that he could do. And he loved playing cards. His favorite thing was playing cards with all of us. Dad was not a person to talk about other people. I honestly say I never really heard him ever talk about people unless there was a reason or a question. Dad never complained much, and fanciness wasn't the way he lived his life. He was simple, funny, loving, strong, and caring. He loved his little Benji, and Benji loved him. That's his little dog. And Benji still waits for Dad to come home, and he looks for Dad and lays in his chair, and it's just a lot. Dad loved being a grandpa and a great-grandpa. He loved, didn't matter ages, he loved everything. He loved liver and onions, cold beer with tomato juice. He loved sweets. He loved sweets. Cherry pie. He loved to go camping and boating. He loved grilling good meat on the grill. He loved to sleep. He loved to watch the kids play ball. He loved the Minnesota Twins. He loved to play cards. 500 and blackball was the most fun. But most of all, Dad loved Mom. Dad loved Mom so much. And Dad loved being a dad to all of us. Dad was not a man that asked for a lot of help. If he did, he'd say, well, whenever you get around to it, you know. Then Mom would say, ask him again, then get the stuff. My dad lived and loved life. I know I'm a little overprotective, you guys, of my mom and dad. But they raised us and took care of us. Life comes back full circle, and we gotta take care of them, and we're gonna do it. So we do what we can. Yeah. Life is a journey, no regrets. If you think you should do something, don't wait, you do it now. Really, for real. We've had a journey with my dad these last few months. He also was on a journey. It's been a journey of love, patience, understanding, finding the best doctors to help him. I always told my dad, we're not quitters. We're not quitters. We will take care of you, and whatever's best, as long as we don't quit, and you're a trooper, Dad, we will find you whatever we need, the help that we need to get. Just trust us. And he did. He trusts us all the time, too. Like, what are we gonna do now? What should we do now? Okay, and he trusted us a lot. In January, we found out that Dad had bile duct cancer. That was quite a shock. None of us saw that coming. We kind of had to move forward because we're not quitters, remember, you gotta keep going. We had a lot of doctors come in the hospital rooms trying to figure out what was the best for Dad. A lot of tests, scans, and whatever we needed, we did. We did, because he's our dad. One day, the four of us, Dad, Kim, Mom, and myself, were sitting in the room waiting to see what the doctor was when they were coming in. And Kim put her music on her phone. Well, my gosh, what comes up on first? Charlie Pride, Crystal Chandelier. And that's their favorite. And then the next song she played was Dancing in the Dark. And we literally held hands and danced in the hospital room. We just swung and danced, you know. And we really did dance in the dark because we didn't know what bile duct cancer was. So we had to learn a lot. When Dad would go for scans, which was on the other side of the hospital, a nurse would usually roll Dad. I would take Mom in the wheelchair, and Kim would push with the bags and the purses and stuff. And Kim would say, here comes the circus, everybody, because we were always all together. And we were. We said, and I just said, when you see one of us, you see all of us. And the nurses were great, and they would laugh, and they treated us like family. As Mom and I would stay with Dad in the hospital room, whenever we were there, you know, we never said we'd ever leave him because he got nervous. Many nights at the end, I would sit at the end, Mom would be in her little recliner, and I would be at the end of the bed reading stories, and he would say, Cindy, you awake? You awake? Are you awake? Yes, Dad, I'm awake. Then he'd say, can you help me turn? Can you give me a drink of water? One night he wanted toast and applesauce at 2 o'clock. Because he hadn't eaten much. And sometimes we just talked, and sometimes we just sat in silence. And sometimes it was just a quiet, dark room when we were all three of us were in there. God bless Mom, she always was sleeping in her little recliner. All three of us in our room, and the nurses were fantastic. It was a beautiful time. I'm very proud of my dad's strength and faith and courage, and the trust he gave in us to help take care of him. Trust is very important, everybody. You know that. Emotions are important. We need to trust God to take care of us and love us. When we were gone a lot, Brad watched over the house and took care of Benji. Thank you, Brad. Our nieces and nephews visited us in the hospital. Thank you so much. Thank you to Kim and Don for always bringing food and being there. And God bless Mark for doing everything else. Mom, we love you for being so strong and courageous and loving. It was a journey with Dad, hard at times but very comforting because we were always with him and saw him in a different light even as he went through this journey. And this is kind of off the subject, but I gotta tell you this. Thank you to the nurses. Nurses are the very best people in the world. And I'm not just saying that, they are. Nurses are special people in our lives. That when we're in the hospital with our loved ones, nurses are the strength of the hospital who take care of us. And whether you're the patient or the family, they take care of us. The hospital nurses at the Stanford were top-notch, always there for us. The nurses here at Avera, when we would take Dad to urgent care or Avera here, those Avera nurses were fantastic. Dawn and Brittany, thank you for always being there, for being so understanding, and even though I didn't always listen, because it was hard, but I appreciate everything. Dad was 94. Blessed and grateful to have you as our dad. Blessed and grateful to the family we have. Love you always, Dad. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. And thank you, Mark. Next, we will listen to the song On the Wings of a Snow White Dove.
Some technical difficulties, so this is hard.
We'll let Dave pull that up. While we do that, we will go to our prayers of commendation. These are spiritual prayers in a way that we're turning Ed's care over to the Lord through prayer. In the midst of life, we are in death. From whom can we seek help? Our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heaven and earth. God, who raised Christ from the dead, will give life to your mortal bodies also, through the Spirit that dwells within you. Listen, I will tell you a mystery. We will not all die, but we will all be changed. For this perishable body must put on imperishability, and this mortal body must put on immortality. Then the saying that is written will be fulfilled. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? But thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Let us pray. O God, you have ordered this wonderful world and know all things in earth and in heaven. Give us such faith that by day and by night, at all times and in all places, we may without fear commit ourselves and those dear to us to your never-failing love, in this life and the life to come. Amen. At this time, let us recite the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. The kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
On the wings of a snow white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, when troubles surround us, when evils come, the body grows weak. The spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, he doesn't forget us. He sings down his love. dove. Wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love. A sign from above. Sign from above. On the wings of a dove. Wings of a dove. When Noah had drifted on the flood day, he searched for land. He searched for land in various ways. Various ways. Troubles he had some, but wasn't forgotten. He sent him his love. Sent him his love. On the wings of a dove. Wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love. A sign from above. Sign from above. On the wings of a dove. Wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove. He sends his pure, sweet love. A sign from above. Sign from above. On the wings of a dove. Wings of a dove. On the wings of a dove. Wings of a dove. On the wings of a dove. Wings of a dove.
Our last song is I Am the Bread of Life. You should have some song lyrics. We will invite you if you're... Yes?
Did you do that?
Sure. No, maybe we should do that now. That's good. Thank you, Cindy. Cindy did a great job capturing the life and legacy earlier of Ed, but we all have our own connections to each other, and you've had your own connections to Ed as well. So I think it would be wise take a moment at this time. If anybody has some thought or reflection you wish to share, this is a good time to do so.
Okay, I have to look to this side of the room. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Samantha, and I got to marry into the Marczak family with Kevin's oldest daughter. Her name is Wonder. And before I share a few things that she had wrote, I decided that I would visit with my kids this last week, and we would talk about some of the favorite memories that we have with Grandma and Grandpa. So, we originally are from Colorado, and we moved here, I would say, about 6 years ago. And one of the things that I remember traveling here before we were here is Cindy was having a summer gathering, and we stayed on the couch of my mother-in-law's house with my best friend Haley. After someone very close to me had died and Wonder was already making the trip to Minnesota, decided to have us tag along. So one of the things that I like about Grandpa is he was the very first person other than Cindy and Mark to invite me out, and also challenged us to a very competitive game of ladder ball, which I won, and he did not like that. And I think we probably switched up partners, I don't know how many times for the next afternoon and stayed there all night. The other thing is that every time I would grab a piece of licorice off the table that she had on the picnic tables, he decided to take the other half of it. And so I knew right then that he was going to be my favorite old man. And that is what I called him for the next 8 years. So anyway, one of my other favorite memories, and it is very dear to my heart, I unfortunately never got to meet Kevin, and that is Wonder's dad. And so Rhonda reassured me that I was in the right spot with Wonder and that our life was moving into exactly what she wanted for her daughter. Grandpa pulled me aside, I don't know exactly when, but we were also at Cindy's, one of our gatherings there, where we spent a lot of family time, and he told me that he was very appreciative that Wonder was happy and that Kevin would be happy that she was happy. And I hold that very dear to my heart because as we all hear memories and we can kind of piece together what somebody would have been, but when you don't get to share some of those with that person, you are very unsure as what their thoughts would be. Another thing that I like and what my boys shared with us the other day is that we have learned to play, I don't know how many card games. Most of them at Cindy's as well, or Grandma and Grandpa's at the table playing new games and that kind of stuff. Probably about a year ago, we had brought a new game to the table, and it is this little box penny game. And my youngest son, who is now 7, was teaching Grandpa how to play the penny game. And Levi was winning. And Grandpa said, "You little stink pot." And Levi said, "I'm not a stink pot." And he had little jokes like that that really kind of just made the entire setting just an entirely fun environment to be in. Also, and I'm backtracking because they just come to me and go, and I have things wrote down, but I'm really sorry about that. So Cindy and I have a lot of that in common. When Wonder gave birth to our middle son, Nash, he had the largest head on the planet. And when we first got back to Minnesota, everybody said, "He looks just like Grandpa." And Grandpa said, "Big head, big brain." And so that is something 9 years later, every time Nash is, trying to get into a certain shirt, or, those onesies, we had to have the ones with the buttons on the side and stretched them all out, and shopping for him was really hard. Still kind of is. But we still tell you that, don't we, buddy? Yeah, we still think that big head, big brain. And so, another thing that I was really appreciative for Grandpa is he got to come visit our house to watch all of our boys play baseball a couple of years ago. And before traveling was a little hard, before hospital visits. And he told us then that he didn't understand why we had a huge house, because all of his love was always in a small house. And I will tell you, the past 3 years, Wonder and I have really considered reducing that so that we could have a smaller house and a tighter family. And we made sure that every time Grandpa came to town in Sioux Falls, that we went and spent time with him in the hospital. Never once did I see that I thought that I was going to see a nude old man, but I did. Grandpa did not like to keep his clothes on in the hospital, and he did not like it when the nurses told him what to do. And Grandma and Cindy, and mostly Kim as well, got to be the ones that kind of settled that down. So those are some of our favorite memories that we share there. In true Wonder fashion, she cannot stand in front of anybody, and I am the talker, and she is probably the smarts of our entire family. So she did jot down some things, and I'm going to now read them from her. Like so many of us in this room today, I have many memories and stories that I have been thinking about in recent days. And it feels quite normal to have moments and events come to mind and memory when we lose somebody. But what feels different for me with Grandpa is how these memories and times are being processed. They are not coming to me in a rush or frantically. They are not bombarding my thoughts or feel overwhelming. They are calm and steady, just like Eddie. Grandpa was and how he would want to seem to want it. When I decided that I would try and write something, I didn't know how or where to start. And I didn't know if I should get up and recall memories of mine for everyone, read a passage, or a poem. Instead, the idea of quality and quantity came to me and would not leave me alone. When thinking of quantity, I thought 94 years of life and 72 years of marriage. How many fish were reeled into a particular day? How many runs a Twins game had scored? How many old Milwaukees were in the cooler? And how much money was won at that casino in one entire night? Quantity seemed pretty dang important. Then there is quality. How good or bad something is, or somebody's personal quality. For GPA, for Grandpa, many of those qualities were hard to ignore. His sense of humor, his resilience, his calm and quiet nature, how he was hardworking, quiet competitiveness, which I'm afraid may have led to a little bit of cheating. But fun enough, we are all still wanted to play with him. How he was a man of few but very meaningful words, where a "hey kiddo" said it all. It felt like that's all you really needed to hear. The traits and qualities that can be seen within ourselves and others now are parts of him that will live on through us. This will help Grandpa or Ed live on and be remembered for many, many years. With that being said, quality, like in most instances, presents itself as more important and meaningful. We are all just extremely fortunate to have been able to experience the quantity too. We did not have to pick or choose which might be better. I would like to end with a quote I came across. Don't ever mistake my silence for ignorance, my calmness for acceptance, or my kindness for weakness. Compassion and tolerance are not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. So we would like to thank you guys all for coming today. Anybody else want to share?
I'll keep it short. What a guy. Over the years, as our families grew, we didn't see much of each other during the holidays, but when we were younger, the Kaylers, the Marczaks, the Gladyses, every holiday we'd get together. And we always thought our folks were really old back then. So the old guys, they usually stayed in the house and watched one of the 2 channels on the TV and played some cards. And we always came dressed up for the holidays, but as soon as the meal was done, all of us kids would basically go upstairs, quick change clothes, out to either the barn to play hoops or out to the snow to play some football. And the only times we got our dads to play, and Eddie might have wore some tennis shoes, my dad did not, he had his boots on, is if we play softball or baseball. They never played football with us or anything, but I don't know, did Eddie ever get mad, you guys? I never saw Eddie ever get mad. And that's, what a great guy. And it's so hard to think about, the last 20 years, how we've been so close, but yet so far apart sometimes, and as our families grew. But what a pleasure to know Eddie. Great guy.
Thank you. Any others? I want to encourage you to continue sharing stories with each other as time goes on. Sometimes I think after a death, we're afraid to bring this person's name up and make the family feel bad, but really it's helpful to hear your loved one's name and those stories. So don't be afraid to share your stories about Ed with the family in future times. So at this time, we will together sing the song. We'll follow the recording of the Bread of Life, and then afterwards, you are invited. Family has generously made arrangements for luncheon. And so after the song, then we will stand and invite the family to come forward first, take direction from Mary in our serving room. If this room is full, there will be additional seating in the entryway, and you can bring a plate of food back into this space too. So at this time, I am the bread of life. your attendance. I'm going to invite you to stand at this time, please.